Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I am going to talk about 5 reasons as to why I think the Fujifilm X-E4 is still not a better option than the Fujifilm X100v. Now technically I have about 7 reasons, but 2 of those are kind of preference, I believe, so I'm sticking to 5 for now. Now if you're familiar with any of the content on my channel, you guys know I love the Fujifilm X100v dearly. So this is not a hating video on the Fujifilm X-E4. I'm just tired. It's only been like a week or so and people are talking about how the X-E4 is like a 100v killer and all these other things, and it's just not true. So I don't hate the Fujifilm X-E4, I just love the Fujifilm X100v. So before you go down and attack me in the comments, please do watch this video because I do believe I have a lot of valid points as to why I'm making this claim. Now, first off, I want to start off with 2 disclaimers and you guys can do what you will with this information. Disclaimer number 1, I am extremely biased. I love the X100v and everything about it, so obviously this video is going to be a very biased opinion and biased review. Just keep that in mind. Next up, I want to say that I don't actually have the Fujifilm X-E4. So do what you will with that information. I have the X100v and I'm not going to buy an X-E4 for various different reasons. Now, if you're anything like me, then you probably don't have the X-E4 as well. So essentially we're in the same boat. What we're doing right now is speculation based on what we've seen from other videos and spec sheets, etc, etc. I'm going to talk about price later in this video because I believe price is something that should be evaluated after you've gone through all the stuff you are paying for. You know what you're getting out of the money you're putting in. So I'm leaving price for the end of this video. All right, moving on. So let's start off with talking about how these two are extremely similar cameras. They both share the same X-Trans4 sensor, meaning you're gonna get the exact same image quality from the Fujifilm X100v, the X-E4, the X-T4, the X-T3, the XS10, the X Pro 3, the X-T30, right? They all share an X-Trans4 sensor. So regardless of what camera you are getting, the images that come out will be pretty much identical. They all share the same 26 megapixels as well. Similarly, these 2 cameras share just about the same exact video qualities as well. They both can shoot up to DCI 4K 30p, which is amazing image quality, to be honest. I believe they both have Eterna and F-Log. I'm not entirely sure about the X-E4, but I believe they can also shoot 1080p up to 120 frames per second, which is great. And they can both externally output 10-bit 422 ProRes onto something like the Atomos Ninja 5. So they have pretty much equal image quality and pretty much equal video specs, right? Now let's get started with the differences. Why do I believe the X100v is still a better option than the X-E4? First off, let's talk about lens. Now I know a lot of you guys are eyeing the XF27mm Mark II because it looks like a fantastic lens. It's great, it has nearly everything, right? But if we're comparing apples to apples, then we have to compare the X-E4 with the 23mm f2 lens because that's what the X100v is. Now if we're comparing those 2 lenses, I believe the X100v has a superior lens. Not because the XF23mm is bad or anything, but the X100v's lens is newly updated. If you're familiar with the Fujifilm X100 line, then you'll know that the X100v has gotten a new lens. Compared to that, I believe the X100F and everything below it have had kind of the same old outdated lens. Now the X100v has one that is newer, so it's sharper and it's faster. Before you couldn't shoot at f2 without it being sharp, but now you can, and it is razor and tack sharp. Now it's probably indistinguishable from the XF23mm f2, to be honest. They're both very sharp. But I will say this, the Fujifilm X100v's lens is much smaller, right? And this is a no-brainer. If we're comparing size, even though the XF23mm f2 is small, it's not nearly as small as the lens of the X100v. They're both great lenses, but the X100v's is smaller. So if you're someone like me and you care about size and portability, then the X100v's lens is better. It's a better option for you. Next up, let's talk about build quality, because Fujifilm has a reputation of having fantastic build quality for many of their cameras, right? The X-E4 is fantastically built. It looks like a very, very well built camera. And the same goes for the X100V. If you ever held an X100 series camera, you'll know that the build quality is very satisfying. It's very, very well built. But I have to give this one to the Fujifilm X100V for one very, very important feature, and that is weather sealing. If you adapt a filter mount and put on a UV filter, the X100V is weather sealed. And now the X-E4 is not weather sealed. So while it is a great build quality, I can't say that it's better than the X100V for this one feature. Now you might not need weather sealing, right? But weather sealing is nice, because all you have to do is put on a UV filter and it doesn't increase the size of the camera that much. And then you have this extra sense of security that my camera is going to survive if it gets splashed on, if I'm shooting in rain, if I go someplace that might damage my camera, I don't have to worry about it as much as if I had a non-weather sealed camera, right? So both great build qualities. X100V's is better because it's weather sealed. Next up, I want to talk about interchangeable lenses, because this is kind of a preferential point. You might not need it, you might care about it. So with the X-E4, you are able to use interchangeable lenses, right? The X100V, you are not able to do so. And this is what I believe is a preferential thing, right? Because you have two types of people. You have one person who's like, oh, nice, I can switch out my lenses and try different focal lengths. But then you have the other guy who's like, no, I only want one camera, one lens only. So it kind of just depends, right? Whether you want the interchangeable lenses or you like a fixed lens because of the shooting experience it comes with. To be honest, I'm kind of both. Next up, we have another preferential type of difference, and that is the screen type. They both have very flush screens. The X100V, I don't know if it's more flush, but it is very, very closely in line with the body. So most people don't even notice that you can pull it out. I believe the X-E4's is pretty close to the X100V's. We have a main difference in this. The X100V's screen is only a tilty screen. So you can pull it out. It's very flush in line with the body, but it's mainly designed for photographers and videographers who like their screen tilt only. Now the X-E4 has a great screen as well, but the X-E4 has a screen that fully flips forward. So you can see yourself if you want to record yourself and do some kind of vlogging or talking head kind of video like this. Now, it's very similar to the Sony RX100 line, meaning that it doesn't fully articulate and anything like that. It just flips up so you can see yourself. But if you're using an external mic like a shotgun mic and you want to put it in the hot shoe mount, you are going to block the screen. So it is a give or take, but just be aware that that's what you'll be doing when you flip the screen up and you're trying to record audio as well. Now, I believe this is a preferential thing because you might have one person that is like, oh, neat, I can see myself, right? And then you have another person that's like, no, I want to shoot photos only. I'm a strictly tilt screen type of guy, because there are those type of guys. So this one comes down to preference as well. Which screen do you prefer? Next up, I want to talk about a point that the X100V is superior in. The X100V has this feature that is just purely plain better than the X-E4's, and that is the viewfinder. With the X100V, you get a hybrid viewfinder, meaning you have an electrical one and an optical one. So you can switch between two different viewfinders that allow you to shoot in a completely different experience. Now, the X-E4 has a viewfinder as well, but the reason why I think this viewfinder loses out to the X100V's viewfinder is for the resolution. The X100V has a 3.69 million dot resolution on its electronic viewfinder. The X-E4 only has a 2.36 million dot resolution viewfinder. So that is a pretty big noticeable difference. You are going to have a better viewfinder with the X100V. And I believe they designed this to have a more like a consumer camera in the X-E4. So that's probably the reason why, but the X100V, just hands down, viewfinder is better. Next up, I want to talk about the differences in button layouts, because with the X-E4, you do lose out on several buttons. You lose out on the shutter speed ISO dial, the combined dial. So the X-E4 gets a shutter speed dial, but the X100V has a combined dial with ISO. So you can change two settings in just one place. And I like this minimalistic design because it saves a lot of space, but it increases the functionality of the camera. The X-E4 does not have this. Similarly, the X-E4 doesn't have a front command dial, which is honestly very useful because you can custom set that function to something else and change whatever you want, like aperture, ISO, shutter speed. Also, the X-E4 loses out on the autofocus switch dial on the left-hand side of the body. The X100V still has this feature. And this is very sad because I believe this is a very useful button or switch or feature that the X100V has. And pretty much most Fujifilm cameras have actually. It allows you to switch between single, continuous, and manual focus modes. So if you want to shoot manual, you can do it with the switch of a button. If you want to switch between single and continuous, you can do so as well. And the X-E4 does not have this. So if you can live without the button features, fantastic. I'm giving this one to the X100V because more buttons, more options, more customality, more functionality. I just think it's better. Next up is a feature I have to give to the X100V completely because no other Fujifilm cameras have this kind of option. X-E4 included, X-T4 included, I believe the X Pro 3 as well, correct me if I'm wrong. But that is the built-in ND filter. Now, if you watch my video that I posted like last week or something like that, you'll know that the X100V is getting an updated built-in ND filter, not only for photo mode, but also video mode. And this is a game changer because other Fujifilm cameras don't have it. And allows you to control light without having to screw on an annoying filter or carry around the physical filter with you. So you can shoot wide open and you can shoot in shutter priority both in photo mode and video mode. And the X-E4 doesn't have this, and that's a real shame because this is such a great option for any camera. Honestly, most cameras should have this. So this one I have to give to the X100V because it's such a great feature. Okay, so now that we've gone over the main differences between the cameras, those are 5 reasons why I still think the X100V is just a better option all around. Let's talk about price because price is the important part, right? Many of you guys will be thinking, oh, but the X-E4 is so much cheaper, right? Well, we have to compare the same lens. So I get many of you will be buying the 27mm f2.8, right? It's a great lens, fantastic, go for it. But if you are fairly comparing both cameras, you have to compare the XF 23mm f2, right? So if we're looking just new everything, you can get the Fujifilm X100V for $1399. Now the X-E4 you can get for $850, right? So it sounds like a steal, but if you're getting the 23mm f2 on top of that, that adds another $450, I believe is the price. So that would make it about $1,300. Now $1,300 versus $1,400 is only $100. And for the features you are getting with the X100V, like I said, the lens, you get a much smaller lens, you get weather sealing, you get a much better viewfinder, and you get a built-in ND filter for photo and video mode for only $100 more. I believe the X100V is superior in this scenario. Now, let's talk about used, right? Because you can find the XF 23mm f2 used on eBay or something like that for a pretty good price. Now, average prices I've seen personally have been around $300 for a good conditioned 23mm f2. Now, sometimes they go up to $350, but then you're paying for better quality. Sometimes they go down even to $250, but the quality of the lens, condition-wise, is much, much worse. So I'm gonna say the average is about $300 for the XF 23mm f2, right? And then, so you would have to buy the X-E4 new because it hasn't been out long enough for you to get a used copy. So we have $850 plus $300. That makes it about $1,150. Let's talk about the X100V used because it's been out for almost a year. So you can find the X100V at a quite affordable price now, a very comparable price to the X-E4. I got mine like 3 months after its release, near mint condition, for about like $1,250. I believe it was either $1,225, $1,250, or $1,260, somewhere in that range. Now today, you can find it for slightly cheaper. I've seen it go down to $1,100, I've seen it at $1,200, but we'll say $1,200 for now because we'll just go with the higher number. Now, X100V, if you're patient enough and you're lucky enough, you can get it at a much lower price. I had a viewer comment on one of my videos saying he got his for $900. And for the X100V, that is a complete steal. Now I understand that is a rare occurrence, but take into account that this camera has been out for a year, so many people are lowering the value of what you can get it for. So let's compare $1,150 versus $1,200 For $50 more, you are getting a better lens, like a newer updated lens, smaller lens, better build quality because of weather sealing, better viewfinder because you get a hybrid viewfinder and you get a better resolution, and you get a built-in ND filter for both photo and video mode. That seems like a no-brainer to me. $50 for all those features is well worth it. Now, of course, if you're trying to get an interchangeable lens camera, then you're not in this topic of conversation because the X100V just isn't. But I think I've made a fair argument. I've pointed out a lot of the reasons why I believe the X100V is just a better option, a better camera, even considering price point of the Fujifilm X-E4. Understand that I don't hate the X-E4, right? I just love the X100V. And hearing people talk about it hurts a little bit because it's only been a year since the camera's been out. Anyways, thank you guys if you made it to the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching and spending your time watching this video. If you like this video, please do like and subscribe to this channel because I make videos mainly on the Fujifilm series, X100V specifically, as you know, but I will be making a lot more videos in the future. I have a lot of great content coming up, in my opinion. Hopefully I didn't make too many of you mad with this video. Yeah. See you guys later. Peace.